Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm James and this is Scarlet, who is my tomato frog, and today's video is all about Scarlet. It is not a tomato frog care guide as much as it's just an opportunity for you to meet Scarlet and see what it's like to have a tomato frog, maybe help you decide if a tomato frog is the right pet for you. So stay with me and I'll be right back and we'll take a little closer look at Scarlet. And this is Scarlet's enclosure. He lives in a 20-gallon aquarium. You can see that he's got a log with a really good space to hide under on the right. He's got another space on the left there with some wood that forms a couple places he can hide. His substrate is just a layer of ABG mix, and on top of that I have a fairly thick layer of sphagnum moss, and the sphagnum moss holds humidity really well, and the type of frog that he loves to burrow, and so the sphagnum moss gives him a really good substrate to burrow into. And he is an opportunistic feeder. He basically just burrows down and waits for his food to come by, and he'll just, when it comes by his mouth, he just gulps it up. This enclosure is even twice as big as what he really needs. In the past, I've kept Scarlet in a 10-gallon tank, and that was fine for him. He could even probably be in something a little smaller than a 10-gallon. But I really wanted to give him the option to have some different places to go, even though he will sit for weeks at a time in one spot. That's what Scarlet does. He seems to pick and choose a spot, and he'll stay there for quite a while. About a week ago, he just sat for an entire week underneath those bromeliads. And for a while, he was staying underneath this log on the right. And right now, he is pretty much happy to be staying under this log on the left. I think I just saw a cricket hop out of there. And I fed him last night. There's a few stray crickets in there. And that is Scarlet. As you can see, they get their name tomato frog because they are an orange and red color. When they feel defensive, they can puff their bodies up with air to make themselves look bigger. And he basically looks like a big tomato. You can see as a water dish there, and I make sure that I keep that filled with clean, fresh, dechlorinated water. Taking care of Scarlet is pretty easy. I mist his enclosure every morning and every evening, and I often, when I'm coming around in the afternoon, I'll give him another misting in the middle of the day. And he eats mostly crickets. Occasionally, I'll give him some night crawlers, but mostly crickets, and I feed him 3 times a week. And I dust those crickets with calcium and vitamin D, and I alternate between dusting his crickets with the calcium and vitamin D or the multivitamins. Being a frog and being a nocturnal creature, Scarlet doesn't need any kind of special lighting. He doesn't need UVB lights. I do have a small LED light there, and I just turn that on 12 hours and off 12 hours just to give him a day-night cycle. As far as the cost of owning a tomato frog, the frog itself is probably going to be anywhere from $30 to $60. Uh, the setup is not that expensive, although you need to know how to set him up with a false bottom and a drainage layer. Uh, you need to have the correct ABG mix. Um, The 20-gallon tank is relatively inexpensive. You could put it in a 10-gallon tank, which is even less expensive. You would need a water dish. And really, the only ongoing costs after that would be having crickets to feed him, which is not really that much. I spend probably about $15 to $20 a month on crickets for Scarlet plus my tree frogs and my geckos. So that for one frog wouldn't be that much. And I would definitely look for a captive bred frog. I would not buy one at a pet store. At the pet store, most likely it's going to be a imported field caught animal, and that brings all kinds of problems with it, from parasites to different kinds of bacterial infections that the wild caught animals might have. So for a frog to thrive and be healthy, you really want to find a captive bred frog. I would look for a breeder online, perhaps at morphmarket.com, or better yet, I would go to joshsfrogs.com. As far as whether a tomato frog would be the right pet for you, honestly, I'd say that you'd have to be someone like myself who loves frogs for that to be the case. And some people would say that this is a very boring animal, and really they're probably right. Although it is a beautiful creature and it has a personality, it might not be the best personality. It has a very dry sense of humor, and it has a look on its face at all times that tells you that it hates you. And at the same time, that's one of the things that I just love about it. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. Okay, that's it for today, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. If you did, do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe button. Your support is really what makes these videos possible, and I really appreciate it. If you'd like to be notified when new videos are available, just ring the notification bell. And until then, I look forward to seeing you again real soon.